Well, good late evening on. This is 45 News, Utah. Looks like it's March 26th. Utah State, let's dive into it. Utah State said that they're raising higher education tuition for Dixie State. Looks like Salt Lake, all that's getting a raise in their tuition. I think Dixie's going to be over 3.5% increase in the tuition. I seem to think of a lot of money that was thrown at colleges and higher education over the past year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of money. Just kind of just throwing that out there. Senator Mike Lee says, and what he saw and heard at the border, he was right there with Ted Cruz. There was a lot of taunting and yelling, hundreds of people, from Honduras, Venezuela, trying to get across the border, trusting their lives with coyotes and the cartel. Yeah, pretty dangerous situation there. Yeah, hey, you know what? Looks like stay vigilant. Even though you have the COVID-19 vaccine, the race isn't over yet. There's still issues going on. Stay vigilant. Even if you have the shot, you're supposed to wear your mask. Not going to violate that. I get kicked off YouTube or Facebook. I just watched some senators talking to the three heads of the internet world, and I don't want to say anything different. Get the vaccine. Yeah, it's a great vaccine. If you have an idea for the Wasatch Front improvement, here's how you can submit it. Let's see. Here's some improvements. Stop moving to Utah. Just saying, too many people. Too many people. Okay, well, they're talking about Central Wasatch Commission. Yeah. Possible new transportation system. Okay, let's scrap that, because apparently it's got a beautiful picture of, I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me try to turn the camera. Look at that beauty. They got that pretty picture right there, all the mountain that says, have an idea for Central Wasatch improvements? Here's how you can submit it. Looks all great. Doesn't seem to me like it really matters. Looks stupid. Looks like a dumb idea. And it's nothing to do with the mountains or anything else that I really care about, apparently. Call me old-fashioned. Okay. Man, I moved the TV earlier. A lot of dust on it. Pardon me. Really got me good. 2 more Utah parks gain international dark sky status. You know what happens when people come to these areas and flood it, like bumper to bumper traffic going south and north from every direction into Utah's backcountry. Yeah, they tend to build houses wherever they can and decide that, well, it's a great place. Let's move here. 453 more COVID-19 cases, 3 deaths, 29,000 vaccines reported as of Friday. Okay, looks like deaths are going down a little bit. Might be a good thing. So COVID-19 vaccine provide protection for pregnant women and women that are breastfeeding. So, big deal. Pardon me. Can't see much more. Yeah. Okay. I hate to be looking at this at the same time. I really didn't have time to get everything ready. I was watching my grandbaby. Bless his little heart. I love him to death. And, when I don't have time to get a newscast ready, I don't have anybody get my newscast ready. And when I get on air, it's kind of hard to do the news when you're busy trying to live life, right? We're trying to do this live life and start a media company. Okay. Well, I do want to talk in the end of this. I want to tell you guys a little bit about what I heard today. What I watched today was just gut-wrenching, and the loss of Second Amendment and First Amendment in every direction I can possibly bring up. It talks about Ted Cruz. So ex-CDC chief backs the Wuhan lab theory of the virus. I'm telling you, this is... CNN can call it false news, basically, guys, and Mark Zuckerberg and the YouTube gods can tell you that you're fake news. And from what the senators are saying today or yesterday in their conference with the 3 big media moguls, well, I guess you just call them platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Google, they're basically saying, okay, I'll get it in a minute, but they're basically saying that people have the right to post anything because you, the average person, have no ability to decipher truth from fiction, and you're not capable of doing that. So they don't want anything being posted that they don't deem as fact. Okay. Biden's infrastructure bill includes large expansion of the social welfare state. Now, Biden's bill did include a farm act that did bail out any farmer that was not white that had a lost land since 1950 due to what they deem as racism, or the banks that did this and didn't give them loans to continue their farming activity on their larger piece of property, and also gives them grants. If you're not a white, you get grants to purchase more property and training on how to purchase more property. Plus, you got 120% of your farm ag bill or any debt owed to the federal government wiped completely off. So you got 120% of what you owed. So you got 20% of whatever you owed, you get for free, cash. Not going to say much about that. I do believe Native Americans were. When you look at the Dawes Act, 160 acres, 320 acres grazing, how much that land was lost and sold because of racism or economic issues, or just the entire state of Oklahoma being, taken up by the Sooners due to the Dawes Act and the loss of the Black Hills and yada, 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 it goes on. I'm standing with Native Americans on that. I think that the return of treaty land is a huge deal, and we should be working on that before anything else. But race should not play a part in farm subsidies in that sense, and nobody should have their federal bill wiped off due to race. That's just my opinion. I think that Native Americans, farmers, with the Boss Farm Act and other acts that were implemented in the early 19th century, did cause a lot of Native American farmers to go belly up, and did cause land seizures due to flood control. Yes, there is a massively big issue that the Biden administration is not covering. It's just basically saying if you're black, Latino, Asian, any other race other than white, including some Native Americans, you'll get money and your bill's wiped clean, and you get grants to go buy more land. So, not a good deal. Okay, on to the next. Probably covered a lot of the stuff at a later date. I do want to get into Como's still a rapist. Anyway, passing that. Kick me off YouTube for that. Something about Hunter Biden and a gun. Stupid stuff. So today I seen Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg and whatever his name is of Google being drilled by senators, and it was on Fox News, and what I seen and heard was completely shocking. And as far as a free media outlet and being part of the free press, the First Amendment that I'm pushing here, the freedom of speech and the freedom of you to decide what's actually fact and fiction, or what you believe or don't believe, because you're actually a capable human being. You still should have the ability to say this is something that's not proven yet, and this is supposedly proven and approved by the government and other entities that are in charge of telling you what is fact by their standards, which is that's a violation of free speech. Complete violation. The government has no control over what they think a theory or a fact. If it's a theory, there's still a possibility. I mean, anything you bring up that's a possibility could be factual and should not be censored. But they're saying, the senators today were saying, false information. This is a threat to our democracy. Just like I posted before, this is a threat to our democracy. They were bobbleheading it. They were chewing out the major media moguls. They were telling them that they have to kick everybody off that brings up the vaccine, or anti-vaxxers, or conspiracy theories, or if they're white nationalists, white patriot nationalists. I can't say anything because I'll get kicked off. This is as bad as living in Germany with the Gestapo. This is as bad as being in Stalin's Russia, behind the Berlin Wall. Don't say certain things or you'll be kicked off everything. You'll have no voice. You'll be done. Free speech is free speech. Free press is free press. You lose that. Even if I come up with a theory saying that I saw a UFO yesterday, and it looked like a UFO, but it wasn't factual, and the government and Zuckerberg and all the rest of them deem that as false information, but you're not able to even have a theory, the possibility of it happening. No, to them it was false, and so you're kicked off. If you say anything about the vaccine, you're kicked off. This is how you stay on the internet. The vaccine is great. The vaccine is good. Take the vaccine. Trust everything they're telling you, because the vaccine is actually going to save lives. If you're in that risky category, if you're not in the risk, take that vaccine to save your neighbor, your grandma, your grandpa, which is all true. It's all true. Don't mention the pill. The pill is great. The pill is fantastic. The pill has great potential, huge potential. Anyway, so that's what I want to debate today. Jen Psaki looks like Mark Zuckerberg, in my opinion. It's probably his sister. And watch some Tucker Carlson. That's some good stuff. But as far as the senators that grilled the Facebook and Twitters and the Google guys, this is still a constitutional republic. We still have the right to determine what's fact and fiction, though you or your fact checkers and your independent organizations decide what's fact and what isn't. What a theory is, it could still be factual and has elements of facts in it. Okay? Free speech is still a thing. We have not surrendered yet. You can silence us, you can kick us off the news, you can do whatever you want, but you will not silence our voices. The Constitution grants us the First Amendment. And you can say, well, this is damaging. This is the First Amendment. Nothing you're doing is the First Amendment. That's the Constitution. You took an oath to defend. Vetting people in the National Guard and the military for white nationalist beliefs is race should never be a part of this. And nationalism is fantastic. And patriotism is exactly what everybody in this country, everyone in this country needs to have. Because if you're a patriot, you're for this country. It's patriotic. You don't vet nationalists that believe in the nation, patriots that are 100% in to defend the Constitution with their life and the freedoms that our country provided, our forefathers set forth by establishing this country. And you don't do it because they're white. Nobody has a right to judge, to favor one race over the other. That's racism. Pure and simple. Racism. A farmer struggling right now, and somebody it's a minority in the country, that's not much of a minority for much longer, you should not give favor to other people. We're all Americans. That's not racism. Every race, color, and creed, we're all the same. We're all Americans. Racism is when you segregate one portion of the population because the color of their skin. That's the very definition of racism. I don't know what else you'd call it. Anybody? It's racism. Dog's a dog, a duck's a duck. You can't make a dog a duck. You can paint it up like a duck, it sure ain't gonna fly. Unless you put a big slingshot and shoot it across the ocean. There's no way a goose and a duck is reversed. A goose will always be a goose and a duck will be a duck. Nothing you do about it. Racism is always going to be one thing, and that is when you judge somebody by their ethnicity and the color of their skin, period. Period. You have no argument. Zero. You pass something because of someone's color of their skin, that the other colors of the sacred hoop are not included, and it's to do with poverty or advantage, then that's racist. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. The racism has to stop. Biden's administration just passed one of the most racist bills that I've ever seen. And it did not give back the treaty land you stole from the Native Americans through treaty. Doesn't do anything about it. Army Corps of Engineer land is still setting up there, seized from the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. Seized land in the name of flood control. That land is their land. They have not accepted a penny of that. That unceded Sioux territory is theirs. Always has been and always will be. You give that back before you decide to start giving people money for the color of their skin. Racism happens all the way around the board. It happened to the Irish. Racism is a color of skin and ethnicity. If you favor one or the other, you're racist. Hope you guys have a good night. Sorry, it's you know, just can't do the news without seeing the facts and hearing the facts. And one thing it does, it gets underneath your skin and you start realizing what is happening to this country. The press is being eliminated, censored, and we're no different than communist China right now. Nobody has the right to censor information. Whether it be good or bad, you make that decision. Okay? You guys have a great night. I'll talk to you later.